A little blurry, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was just me.
You don't need new glasses yet. It's blurry. Hey, folks, Breakaway Homesteader here.
Hey,
I'm Patrick.
I'm Megan.
How's it going?
It's really blurry.
What's up with that?
Wipe the lens, maybe?
Now it's worse.
Well, I didn't say lick your finger.
No, I know. I got it.
It's better, I guess.
A little bit, I suppose.
I feel like there's not enough light, maybe?
Maybe not. Turn the light up. It's going to make a glare, though. It's just not focusing. That's weird. I think that's it. Oh, well. We'll go on from here. It'll be okay. Hey, welcome to Breakaway Homestead, Thursday night live show.
We got Doc and City Girl.
How's it going, guys? Hope you're doing well. 3 watching now. Tonight's not going to be a long show. Not as long as we are normally doing. We are packing up and getting ready to head out for the weekend down to Georgia.
Yeah, so, my grandmother moved into her new place today, and so we're going to go down and make sure everything's set up and get all our electronics hooked up right and all that kind of stuff, and go see Big Bear Homestead.
Yep.
And hang out there for a couple hours and then come home.
Do a little glamping.
Yep.
You know, and come back. So Tasker weekend.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Support weekend.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a show last week. And that's because I posted a video on how to make a sick tent or a
containment tent.
Containment tent, and it took a while. It's been a while since I put a video together.
It was, it was pretty in depth, so it took more than I think you had thought. Yeah.
So I spent all day Thursday last week, all night anyway, because that's what little time I had left during the day, editing that video and then posting it finally that evening, and it has received over 1,000 views. How cool is that?
Has it really?
Yeah. Got a little endorsement by Brad from Full Spectrum Survival.
Yeah, his Patreon, they send out daily emails with links, and he liked Pat's video so much that he included it as one of the daily links.
It's important.
So it was, there's the whole, he's a much bigger channel, but, they talk a lot.
We do.
On a friendship level of things, it was kind of cool to have it featured in something like that. And it got to a much different audience as well, much larger, much more prepper minded.
Got a lot of feedback on it,
a lot of people asking questions, things that Pat and I had talked about as we were planning and making the video and stuff. And so it was good, like all around good exposure, good comments.
Yeah.
It was cool for us. We're not a very big channel, so stuff like that.
It helps.
We're bigger than some, but we're nowhere near as big as others.
Right.
So stuff like that helps, and it was pretty cool.
So what's happened in the past 2 weeks?
I busted myself again.
Yes.
I jacked up my other hip this time. For those of you who have been watching or haven't been watching, last year in the fall when we were processing the turkeys, I tripped over something in the yard and threw out my right hip. Had to go get shots, and
I thought it was the time you tried to throw yourself down the 3 steps in the back.
No, that was when I tripped over that metal thing in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
Had to get shots, muscle relaxers, steroids, all that kind of stuff. Well, I tripped again this past weekend, and
in our living room,
in our kitchen living room area, tripped over a cat toy and cat tower thing, and threw out my left hip, so I had to go get shot and muscle relaxers and prednisone. So that happened. My mom and my grandmother came up.
Yep.
They came up Thursday.
Spent the weekend.
Yeah, and spent the weekend. Went back home on Sunday. So, and then we'll see them again this weekend.
I got you a helmet for Valentine's Day. You just wear a helmet.
Yeah. It's kind of love and support I get around this place.
I have no walker.
The walker would probably be more useful.
With tennis balls on the bottom.
Yeah. We moved our
Chickens are doing good.
we have 12
12 my chicks
that are still alive and kicking. So
they're doing great.
Yeah, they're doing fantastic. So they're in the brooder part of the shed, doing their thing, getting bigger, talking, cheeping. They're adorable. Most of them came out all black, so the genetic modification or like abnormality is there. There's a
some
couple
becomes a little bit white on their toes,
which can grow out or it cannot. So we just kind of got to see. Obviously, they will not. If it doesn't grow out, or even with just having it in general, probably not going to keep as breeding stock because of that. But we'll see where we go.
I'm sure other people would like them.
Yeah. So we moved the parents out into their pen.
Yeah.
We've been working on clearing up the yard, planning out how we're gonna fence it in and everything.
Yep.
So did that.
Get some good ideas.
Yeah. Yesterday talked how we're gonna move some stuff. Just working on getting the homestead where it needs to be.
Megan has to have pigs.
We eat pork.
Yes, we do. We also have friends that raise pork.
Okay. You're going to milk a goat every day and keep them knocked up? No.
Nobody said I had to milk a goat.
Okay, then what's the point of having a goat?
You sell goats.
Like not around here, you don't.
Yeah, you do around here. There's a huge halal community, especially towards Siler City.
I just feel we're not doing this for everybody else. We're doing this for us.
I get that.
I'm just saying.
I get that. It's the experience of actually raising
pigs.
She wants pigs. That's just
because we eat pig.
I get we eat.
It is useful to us here on the homestead, not to the halal community in Siler City. Okay.
Whatever.
Pigs.
All right. So it's looks like it.
Oh, it just focused randomly.
It's maybe because of I moved my big fat face up.
That's probably it.
Possibly it.
Yeah, we've got a little over 2 acres, so we definitely have the space for it.
Yeah.
Our problem is that most of our space is wooded.
Containment.
So yeah, there's no fencing up at the moment, so that's one. But then it's all wooded. I would say probably only half an acre of our property is not wooded, and that's pretty much where our house is.
Yeah.
So like, there's a little bit of a backyard, but that's it. So a lot of it is having to. There's no fencing.
Whoop, my fault.
It's one, but
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
All wooded. Seriously?
Don't give me that seriously.
So, but yeah. Oh, that jumped up again.
It did jump up again. So I guess that's it. Is that it for?
I guess it is because you're going on.
I'm just preparing for the next step.
Yeah.
You're kind of just drumming.
I'm on my pills, honey.
So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. I'm gonna pull up the. God, these things. I wish these things weren't so small. I really need to get my eyes tested.
That's something. This kid went and got a physical.
Thank you.
And he got blood work done.
Yeah.
And his cholesterol has dropped 40 points.
Yep.
So everybody.
Big round of applause.
We're excited about that, especially considering he's gained weight.
Just 10 pounds. That's the last time I was there.
Well, that was 2 years ago. So if I only put on 10 pounds in 2 years,
our next section, yeah, right. Our next section is your health, and I wanted to pull up the screen, the opposite screen we have here, to show you exactly what's going on with the Wuhan, renamed COVID-19. It's the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus that's sweeping across China and throughout the world now. And will probably be our next pandemic. You can see here that huge spike right there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. I got that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna shut that display. Could you not lean on me? I'm not your kickstand.
Nope. Can I not just love my husband?
I get that, but your arm weighs is heavy. And for those of y'all out there, happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. We celebrate it, or if you don't, whatnot. So let's talk about your health. So as always, would you get off me, please? So as always, Megan has no idea what's coming up.
I actually have more input in this show than I have in the past several.
You do. So Megan has no idea what's coming up for your health. With the coronavirus going around, it's a matter of avoidance, not a matter of not getting it. You want to avoid it. You'd avoid it by keeping clean, washing your hands constantly, not touching your face, so on and so forth. So I found this Norse, which is Norwegian, video. Some people don't know what Norse is. It's a medical video off of YouTube. It kind of gives you the point of what we're talking about and the importance of not touching your face and doing stuff like that. So check out this video.
Neste pasient, Karl Hansen. Nå skal jeg bare undersøke unnskyld, ja. Ja, hallo. Ja. Ja, visst, ok. Jeg skal bare lytte på det. Ja, vær så god, ta grensen. Ha det bra, ja. Lykke til.
Hei.
Hei, hei. Vær så god.
Tusen takk. Hei, velkommen. Takk.
That's pretty cool.
So you get the idea. The idea is to show you exactly how things get transferred and how easily it can be transferred with a little forethought. You know, if you wash the hands beforehand, even wash his hands afterwards. Yes, he and not touch himself and have a protocol on how to do things. And this is so hard to do. It's hard not to touch your face. It's hard not to do. But when you're in a situation where you have to deal with something like COVID-19, then even a paper mask that has nothing to do with your health, this is just a dust mask, putting that on your face will keep you from touching your mouth. And by the time you touch it, you go, oh, that's right, I shouldn't do that. And you didn't actually touch your face. Same thing with glasses or a shield, right? We touched on this before. But for your health, that's the video I wanted to post out.
It's good
To
though.
show.
I mean, it's a little comical.
It's nasty,
in that
right?
sense,
A little
but
nasty.
It's
In
gross.
my sense, it's like green crap everywhere. And
I think that's one thing that I do probably more than you is wash my hands because at work I have to.
mhm.
You know, we wear gloves, we wear protective gear if we need to, but we're constantly hand sanitizing or washing or
I sanitize my hands constantly at work.
yeah.
The first thing I do when I get to work is I got not virus spray, but I got an actual cleaner that can take on pathogens and blood and stuff like that.
We use that at home. Call it Bob Barker, or at work. Call
Bob
it.
Barker.
Yeah, it's called Bob Barker.
It's so I spray my desk off. I wipe it down because I do eat at my desk because I don't want to eat at the dining facility. I'll spray that down and I'll clean that. I'll clean my phone. Then I go into the the break room, and I'll wipe down all the handles on the doors of the two refrigerators inside there, and I'll go around the whole building and clean all the handles. I did that every single day this week.
Smart.
And then usually by the time I'm leaving, I'm usually the last one there. If I'm the last one there, I'll pick up my big old can of Lysol spray and I will spray the crap out of everybody's office. And my
We also
my
have a
coworker
bad
Zane
history
picked up the phone.
of-
It's like, hey, this is Zane, and he goes, and he starts sniffing his phone. He's like Patrick, why does my phone smell like a $2 hooker?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's because I sprayed it down with Lysol.
But you also have a very bad track record of once one of you gets sick,
We
everyone
all get
gets
sick. So we're in school. So when we see, I hear him touching my face again. So when we get exposed to students on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
so the chances are higher.
But
So
even just in your part of the office where it's more the admin people,
I can shut
one
my
of
door.
you gets sick.
Yeah.
It's like the whole building just goes into a crud. And of course, they're all men. So it's the man flu and everyone's dying.
The man flu.
Yes, it's a thing.
Guess I
The
have
ladies out there, you know what I'm talking about.
the man flu. It's where we all bitch.
Honey,
Whine. I don't feel good.
you secluded yourself in the trailer for 3 days.
I did, but I
and
needed it.
slept.
I called you and said, I'm starting to sound like Barry White. Did I not? Before I went full blown.
You did.
Well,
But you complained.
a lot. Yes, I did. I slept a lot too. So we did not do an Instant Pot 2020
We did not.
this week. We just
Someone was supposed to and forgot, and so
Hadn't.
the
Well, we couldn't
other
have done that.
someone.
couldn't have done that. Anyway.
Why?
Cornbread has to be done in trivet inside the Instant
We
Pot.
have a trivet. It came with one.
No. A container. Like a ceramic
Oh,
circular thing. So,
you
yeah.
touched your face
I
again.
know. So we do not have an Instant Pot 2020. We apologize. This week has been, I don't know. This week has been
You've
crazy.
been out of it. I mean, I had doctor's appointment Monday. You had the dentist on Tuesday.
Dentist on
You had
Tuesday.
a blood draw yesterday. You had your doctor's appointment today.
So it's been
We're
busy.
leaving tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've had
So
we've
give
had
us,
stuff going
yeah,
on.
forgive us this 1 week. We will definitely pick that back up next week for sure. So now it's time for the newsreel. So we do a newsreel every week. If you don't know, we do 3 stories that you might not have heard on the
Regular news.
so let me get the news topics up. Question. I hate this thing. News slideshow. Boop. All right. Let me get my notes up here. All right. News story number 1. A highly contested bill that would make it a crime to own assault weapons in Virginia has passed the House of Delegates on Tuesday by a slim margin. The House Bill 961 made it past the House with a vote of 51 to 48. The bill expands the definition of an assault weapon and bans anyone from purchasing or selling certain semi-automatic firearms, including AR-15 style rifles, large capacity firearm magazines, silencers, triggers, activators would also be prohibited.
But aren't silencers already illegal?
You can have silencers are illegal. You can have a permit. This would nullify
The
that
permits.
for anybody who can't get that. It's not a part of the government. It also forbids anyone in certain Virginia localities from carrying a shotgun with certain magazine capacities. The House Committee advanced the bill last week. If this measure becomes law, it would be a Class 6 felony starting 1 July. However, anyone in possession of large capacity firearm magazines, silencers, or trigger activators has until January 1st, 2021 to render them inoperable, surrender them to police, and or get them out of Virginia altogether. The legislation is now moved to the Senate, where moderate Democrats have indicated they are likely to support the measure.
Unlikely.
Unlikely to support the measure. I said, sorry, it's a likely support the measure. So what do you think about that?
I mean, some of the stuff's illegal already, so what is the big damn deal, I guess?
No.
Will you stop?
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't. You want to know the first thing that popped into my head?
No ARs.
No.
What?
If you make your own.
It's still illegal.
Yeah, but they don't know you have them.
It's still illegal.
Yeah, but if you don't do illegal things and give them right to search your property. I mean, I'm just
But if you're making ARs, that is illegal.
Yeah, but who's going to know?
Who knows? I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
was the first thing that popped in my head. You know what? Moonshine's illegal.
It
Doesn't
happens.
mean people don't make it.
That's true.
But unless you give them a reason to come on your property and search. Cheers.
And for those of you who don't know, we do not live in Virginia. Thank God.
Yeah, we do not.
Oh, this is a great story. He looks. Yes, he does.
I didn't want to say that.
Story number 2. The man.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the man who drove his van into a Republican Party voter registration tent in Florida. It's a Florida man story! Reportedly did not like President Trump and told deputies that, quote, someone had to take a stand. An arrest report released Tuesday showed that 27-year-old Gregory Tim had said he noticed the voter tent on his way into the Walmart in Jacksonville and headed there after going into the store on Saturday. 6 volunteers were working in the tent at the time of the incident, and Tim even showed deputies video of himself speaking with some of them before he deliberately rammed his van through, knocking over tables and chairs. Another video he shot apparently ended just as the vehicle struck the tent. Tim was reportedly, quote, upset that it stopped before what he called the good part, according to the report. Tim appeared in court Sunday and was ordered held on $500,000 bond.
How crazy is that?
So, he's lucky he didn't kill anybody.
He's lucky he didn't.
That's
However, comma. Thanks for confirming that. However comes, this is hate crime. This is so a big deal about this is Donald Trump came on. He tweeted as always and says, "Funny this news story is not being covered on main media because majority of the mainstream media is against Trump and have an agenda to make sure that the Democratic nominee gets the seat for the presidency coming up."
Yeah, I was just seeing what people were saying. Sorry.
All right. So that was interesting. And lastly, we just spoke about this. We talked about the Wuhan spike, or the nCoV. What's it called now?
The COVID.
Yeah, COVID-19.
I was getting your notes up for you.
China has reported a massive increase in numbers of its citizens infected by the new coronavirus after officials there changed how cases were defined. The numbers now include people who are less seriously ill. After a week of cases appeared to level out in China, where people were talking about it was plateauing, this is slowing down, blah, blah, blah. Where the outbreak began, the numbers shot up on Wednesday with a whopping 15,152 people diagnosed with the virus causing the newly named disease, COVID-19. A total of 254 people in China died on Wednesday from the coronavirus as well. So the reason why they shot, so David Heyman at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine told New Scientist the sudden spike yesterday was the result of Chinese authorities changing the definition of the coronavirus. They've changed their case definition to include people who are less ill. He says, it's good because we'll now better understand the full spectrum of the disease in China. We'll understand how many are having less serious disease, and this will also have impact when they are doing the ratio of deaths to cases. So basically,
that kills me because, okay, if you test positive for the flu, like the good old flu, every year flu,
old-fashioned flu.
if you test positive, you're positive.
That's it.
It's not you're less sick, so you have it, but you're less sick, so you're fine. Like if you test for something, it's you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's you're a who or you're a sneech.
You're right.
You know, for the sneeches.
The sneeches. Yes.
So that kills me because
the reason why I don't like it is because other theorists say it's a way to bring up the numbers so the death rate doesn't look so horrible.
I mean, I get that, but you want the truth. I want the truth, regardless of what it is. I mean, yes, the death rate, it is, I mean, it bounced up to like 2.2%, and it has stayed between like 2.1 and 2.7 for a while now. So to me, like, I'd much rather know the truth. If there's 5 cases, that's great. I don't have to worry about it. If there's 5,000 cases, that is a significant jump.
Here, read this for me. I posted this yesterday on our website. Read that.
Lancaster University in the UK says the actual numbers of infected cases are more likely 10 to 25 times the reported numbers from the World Health Organization in China. That is at times 10 equals 597,970 up to at times 25, which would be 1.5 million people.
So what about the number of deaths? So I don't want to get too far into it because the show wasn't supposed to be about coronavirus. Because we're trying to tone back a little bit, because lately there has been a lot of stress on this factor, because I'm not gaining any sleep over it, and we go to bed every night just looking at the latest numbers, going, what could happen? What could it be like? So it's concerning to us. It is. We started reporting on this right after my birthday.
Yeah,
and that was
grown significantly.
It has grown significantly. And it
may not be like for us, like we've been talking a lot off the air, just the two of us, and it may not end up being, I mean, it is a pandemic, it is spreading, it's global. Growing within countries. It is global. I mean, it is a pandemic in that sense.
A pandemic.
And it may not be the big one, but it's forced us to think about how we do things.
Yep.
And that's also part of like what our kind of main topic once we get there is about as well, and it may not be the big one.
Right.
But eventually there will be a big one.
It's going to be very impactful.
And it's making us think about things and how we do things and what we have made more strides in terms of like a biological issue here since we started talking about this than we've talked about in the past, decade.
Right.
And for us, like, we do focus more on the homesteading. That's more of my focus, because I can't live with that fear. The anxiety, it eats me alive. I physically can't.
Right.
Pat is more into the prepping side, and I'm totally fine with that. It's a good balance for us. And he's in the homesteading stuff too. Like, it's not just one and one.
Right.
But he has more of a prepper mindset, and that's fine. I have no issue with that. But I can't focus on it. But it's definitely helped us realize what we need, what we could do better.
How we can improve things.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Stop, you guys.
Whole house, and they have to play right here.
Go on.
So.
Go.
Topic image. I'll bring that up here. This is a nice topic.
We didn't do our news stories. I gave you a news story.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
I'm proud of my news story.
My fault. Oh, so we're going to go ahead and go into our articles of the week. That's the show intro. So, whoops. So we're going to go into our articles of the week. Megan sent me her article, and I'm pulling it up here now. Capture display, and there it is.
There it is. So I found this article. It was actually on my Facebook newsfeed, and it was from one of those like weird websites. So you're like, are you really real or not? So I did some Googling, and I actually found the article or the press release on the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website. So I have a little more faith in its reality, I guess. So basically, I need the article to read what I am saying. So basically, the article is that Dulles CBP intercepted dead birds in a passenger bag from China. So these were actually, it was during a baggage examination. They discovered that there was a package with pictures of cats and dogs on it that the passenger said was dog food. But it actually contained an amount of unknown small birds. So they're, in any sense, they are prohibited from being imported in the United States. Because unprocessed birds pose, significant disease threat to us. But this is what was actually in the package.
Not lovely.
It's gross. And then there's a picture of the actual package. I mean, they were packaged, in a sense, they're sold to store, obviously somewhere. I don't know if they're blossom flavored or what.
Those are chicken nuggets right there.
Chicken nuggies. So they actually brought this in, and to me, like, what the hell? Like, that's like, I tried to give that to one of my cats. They would look at me like,
I ain't eating this.
this bitch. But then on top of that, like, tying back in with, the virus and everything, like, we literally are having, this coronavirus that they think stemmed from an animal market in China.
Here people are from China bringing crap in.
Yeah, and so it blew my mind on a number of, levels, and I was just like, I sent this to Pat, and I was seriously, I think what I said was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
And he was like, are you serious? That was his response. Yeah. So that was my article of the week. It stemmed from something I saw on Facebook that I was like, this can't be real, and it was.
So speaking of eating nasty things.
Is that your article?
Yes. Would you eat crickets?
I don't know. They make them covered in chocolate, and I think I might try one.
So this is a new website. I have not seen this before. This article is actually pulled up by a link from Brad from Full Spectrum Survival. The website was, not the article. But it's basically the apartment prepper talking about being prepared in a urban environment.
I mean, I guess crickets, if it's a good source of protein, they don't take up space.
Well, this is a lady who runs this site. And this lady basically talks about the options available and talks about how 80% of the world's population eats bugs in some way or another. And then goes through the story of how she ate a cricket energy bar. Sounds wonderful. But it's a nice little story. Tells you about what it tastes like, the results, the verdict, what she thought, so on and so forth.
See, it had chocolate in it too.
Very, very interesting article. But her site is pretty cool. So that was my article of the week. So happy now? We did our articles of the week.
I was proud of my article.
Good.
I got it to you early.
Right.
It was interesting. It was relevant.
Yes.
And I was proud of it.
Good.
So, yes, we can move on now.
So we move on now. We're not doing the show topic yet. We actually do have a comment of the week or comments of the week. So let me pull up the 3D display capture again. So we did an article and a video last week on urban biohazard isolation tent for populated areas that are not going to be able to get out of their own small apartments if it gets to the pandemic point to where everybody's forced to be quarantined in their spaces like they are in China. And so what this does, it gives you a tent to put the sick in if somebody starts showing symptoms without exposing the people inside the smaller space. if you'd like to take a look at this, it's on my channel. It's a pretty good video. I think we did a pretty thorough job at it. And it got several comments. You can see here it got 34 comments. And we went back and forth a lot. And I was very surprised to see how many people were supportive, how many people wanted to change things.
What is that? Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real.
And I replied back. Oh, I viewed my reply. Never meant to make your daughter cry. No idea. Some were professional. No real unprofessional stuff. I did have to delete 2 comments for Brad because it was specifically message to Brad about the ending days. So comments that I want to point out, and I want to give a shout out to Ollie Hoover. Cool concept, but perhaps while taking up a bit more space, 2-person dome tent might be easier. And the thing about dome tents is we want to keep the cost low, and all the dome tents that are cheap have these huge mesh openings at the top, and so that it won't work. So I'm glad people are coming up with new concepts. Dome was my first choice, but I could not find a cheap tent because we want to keep it cheap. That didn't have a huge opening at the top. Dome tents have an inner tent and an outer shell. The inner tent usually has a broad mesh and the outer shell covers. He replied back, on the cover, a garbage bag and some tape would take care of that. I admit I haven't brought or looked, I'm going to say bought, or looked at tents in years. Back to the cheap dome tents were as cheap as a cheap pup tent. So people are expanding on this, giving their ideas. Someone was talking, Dennis Jones was talking about how's a sick person laying inside the tent to use the bathroom, get in and out, so on and so forth. We gave several replies on that.
Yeah, that was something that we had discussed before about using plastic sheeting on the floor so that they can walk down to, the hallway to the bathroom or, take a shower, and then the sick person with appropriate PPE, personal protective equipment, can go in and sanitize after them, stuff like that. I mean, it's not a perfect system, but it's something that we're proud of, that Pat came up with and worked on. And
it's just, if it can help,
then if it helps one person,
it's worth it. I mean, we
and not
spent
even
money out
for
of our own
this,
pocket
it's
to make this video so other people can see it, to see how easy it is, but also to have an idea on what you can use.
And it was educational as well, because not everybody, like we've seen some videos where instead of the whole negative pressure situation, like the whole point is to not let the germs come out into the healthy population, the outer space. So we've seen some videos where they do elaborate setups, but basically all they're doing is creating a clean room, not a isolation area. There's no negative pressure.
They're setting up a clean room like Dexter sets it up so he doesn't get blood on everything else.
Yeah, not necessarily to contain or eject an illness out of the space and not let it flow back in.
Right.
And so, so in that sense, it was educational. It was educational for me, and I knew what negative pressure was, but how to create it in a space and not spend a lot of money, not have it be cumbersome, that kind of stuff. It's a good little video.
Yeah, so we welcome you all to go to our channel, check that out. Not the slideshow. Comment, new slideshow. I hate this. Topic image. There it is. Can we do this now?
Yes.
So the topic of tonight is, what will garbage look like when we have to take care of it? Basically, the point behind this, and let me unlock that. It's not locked. Make it smaller. Would you stop bouncing, please? I'll try to appreciate it. It really throws me off.
You've been married to my bouncing for 10
I get
years.
that, but not right next to me. I just, yeah. So The reason why I chose this topic is because of the major disruption in China. What they've endured during this quarantine phase, everything seems to have stopped. Hyundai in South Korea had to halt production of their cars because the majority of their parts come from China. Transportation in and out of China has been drastically reduced. People's everyday amenities were and are being disrupted. So, what would happen if the garbage man no longer came to pick up our garbage? Let's say
See, let's qualify that real quick. We do live in the
we
country.
do.
There are several dump spots around in the rural areas of the county, plus the major landfill that you can go to as well. However, where we live, we had the option of paying a company
To pick it up.
to pick it up. And it's like $25 a month.
It's like $9 a month.
Oh, okay. It's even cheaper than I thought. The company that we use, we don't split our stuff up. They go through it and separate stuff out and recycle, which is why it's so cheap. Because then they recycle and get money back from
You
that.
get profit from it.
Yeah. So we were living in the city before. We had city trash pickup. It's glorious.
It was required because
And-
they had no actual dump in the county.
Yeah. And so, we couldn't use it because we lived in the city. But
Right.
so we do have trash pickup here at our house. We do not have to, like many people in rural areas, have to take our trash to a dump station.
Right.
So just to kind of qualify that for those, like, we are country, but we are not like way, way out there country. So
what would we do? And the real question is, why does the garbage man pick up our garbage? And the answer is sanitation. Sanitation is the number one reason why the garbage man picks up our garbage.
yeah, I know us.
Yes.
It would get stacked up to inappropriate heights before we finally
Yes.
did anything with it.
Maybe. I don't think so.
I do.
If we can forecast and know that, hey, this guy's not. If we get an email from the truck garbage people say, hey, we're not going to be picking up garbage. There's too many people sick right now, and we might not be able to pick it up this week or next week or the week after.
Okay, something like that, yeah, we would manage because we would figure out other ways to handle our garbage,
So,
if that makes sense.
yes.
But, like, if we, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
so let's talk the nasty side of it and the downside of piling garbage.
The bugs.
Bugs, animals.
Yeah, it draws stuff to your property. On top of that, like, I mean, especially for us, once again, a qualification, we throw out, like, dirty diapers.
Yes.
You know, Huxley is still he's in, like, pull-up type things, but he is not potty trained, so we have biological waste
Right.
in our trash can pretty much at all times.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. You got the rotten food aspect of it.
Which rots faster.
Yeah, and, you know, we live in the South, too, so during the summer,
It gets hot.
it gets humid, it gets nasty. So you got bugs, you got bacterial growth, it's a lot of nasty.
So again, it goes back to sanitation. The
Yeah.
reason why they pick up your garbage is so we're not nasty people. That's for every household in America. It's just interesting to me. The reason why we stay so healthy is because the garbage man picks up our garbage
I mean,
in a simple manner.
and like running
terms.
water and showering. And,
Right,
you know,
that's
things
another
like
part
that.
of it as well. It's still part of the same group of people, right? So when we put our garbage at the curb, what are the contents of the garbage? And you guys at home, feel free to make a list. We make a list of everything we put in our
did.
garbage.
On an envelope because we're those people.
Recycling. We're recycling.
And scene. We're done. We'll see you next week.
So I encourage you guys to grab your used envelope and make a list of, just think of in your head what exactly goes in your garbage. And this way you can split it out in your mind and go, can I do this, and this?
Yeah.
For people who live in town, this is a no. Huge no for people who live in cities. If it gets to the point where you have 3 bags of garbage, you live in a high-rise tower, and every single apartment in that high rise has 3 bags of garbage. You're going to be in conflict pretty quickly. So if that's the case, maybe somebody steps up and takes charge and says, hey, we need to get a system together to separate this from our living space.
And that's one of the things you see a lot in Europe as well.
You see it in poverty countries.
Like, even not even in poverty companies. Good
companies.
But like where my parents are, they're in Germany. They have like 3 separate trash bins in their kitchen, and this was like that. Even I went to an exchange program 15 years ago, and even back then. They still had that same system. You know, food waste goes in one bin, plastics go in another, glass goes in another, paper goes in another, and you can get seriously fined for not having your trash in the proper receptacle when it gets picked up or you take it and drop it off. Like they take it very seriously, and it helps with the waste situation overall anyway.
Plastic, metals, glass, non-recycling, bio, papers.
I want those. Can we get those?
There's another one for electronic wastes. And then there's another one that says other. And that is for like meat and stuff that so on and so forth. Yeah, it's nice, right?
But like for real.
Like for Ray.
I kind of want those for our house.
Right.
So if anybody wants to get us anything, Megan wants color-coded garbage cans. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, in Europe. And I pulled that picture up for you so you can see, hey, yeah, this is what they do in Europe. And we lived there, and we know exactly how it is.
Yeah. Well, we can't really say that because we lived in Naples during the trash strikes, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah.
In the ocean.
Or just piled up in the street and occasionally set on fire, because who doesn't love the smell of burning car tires on your way home from work?
That's why you pay your dues to the mafia.
So the biggest thing
number one
for me, the first thing when Pat was like, "What is in our garbage?" Diapers.
Yep. For
us, it's diapers. We have tried to cut back a lot on our garbage. We don't use paper towels hardly anymore. We use washcloths, stuff like that. But I would say diapers, and then followed by plastic containers.
Yes.
Because I can look around the office right now, and there's plastic containers, like literally Gatorade bottles, soda bottles, Boog drinks V8 juice. That's what he's always drank. And so there's bottles everywhere. Plastic. I mean, I've been using this for 4 days now, but it's still plastic bottles sitting right here on the desk that I'm drinking out of.
Well, we'll get to plastic. Plastic's actually going to be our last.
No, I know. But those are, to me, the 2 biggest things that I would say.
What can we do with diapers?
Well, the inside, the absorbent gel stuff.
Like Zorbies or Orbeez.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff.
You can use those in a garden.
Yep.
The biggest issue with us is the fact that it's got the whole poop thing on it, or pee. So we've done videos on humanure before and how to compost that. Right. And then you use it on non-food producing things.
Right.
Like our trees and stuff like that.
Shrubs.
Yeah. Things that you're not going to eat from, but that you want to help cultivate, for other reasons. So that would be the best thing. But then at the same token, you still have the outer cover of it, which they only, they
would have to be burned.
You would have to burn them. Yeah. You can't really reuse that. You can't compost
also think of sanitation as well.
Burning kills things.
Burning does kill everything. It really does.
So, yeah.
So it turns it into carbon, and then you can, since you're burning it and all the thing left over is carbon, you can put that anywhere.
Yeah.
No big deal there. Next up was wipes.
Yeah, because if you got diapers, you got wipes. Same thing with that. We'd probably just burn them simply because of the contaminant. At that point, there's no real reason to try to keep them in that sense. And so for us, it's basically pieces of wet paper. So you can dry them out and burn them. That was our solution for that.
Good point, City Girl. Food.
Food waste.
All depends.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, we do have a compost pile that our like vegetable food waste goes into, or
Eggshells,
fruit,
everything like that.
eggshells, the banana peels, coffee grounds, all that kind of stuff. We're not perfect at it, but we're trying to be more conscientious of where it goes. Like even to the point that Pat will take his K-cups from the Keurig, take the coffee grounds out, put them in the compost, and then you can use the little Keurig cups as seed starters.
Yep.
So you're using everything in that package again.
Yeah.
But
City Girl Country Hub brought up a good point. Let's say you're going through your food, and you're going to throw something away. Like if it's something consumable and not spicy, we'll put it down on the floor
for the
dogs,
chickens or the
dogs
dogs.
will take care of it.
Yeah.
But you can take it out to the chickens. Chickens are not herbivores.
Mm-mm. No, they're omnivores. They eat everything. I mean, their main thing is bugs for the protein. So, I mean, they'll eat other stuff as well. But unless it's very spoiled, like something got stuck in the back of the fridge and we forgot about it for longer than we'll admit, then that in that sense, it's not. We won't feed it to the chickens. Just because I feel bad, like, oh, this is so bad, I'm not going to eat it. Here you go, buddy.
Right.
Like I can't. I'm sure they probably could eat it.
Next on the list was paper towels.
Yeah, we don't use a whole lot.
We switched. We clean.
We use washcloths.
We have a stack of 30 washcloths.
Yeah.
And they get cleaned on a regular basis, sanitized and cleaned on a regular basis. And we just reuse those over and over.
Yeah,
again.
and it's. I think it's made a big impact. It
Huge
really has.
impact.
Like we've been doing that for a while now, it irritates me when we get behind on the laundry and I have to use a paper towel because there aren't any clean washcloths. Like I get physically irritated because I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then half the time I end up just drying my hands on my shirt, which I feel like defeats the process of washing them. But
so we use maybe 1.5 rolls of paper towels. Would you say a month?
If that, maybe. Because we really don't use them.
Nope, we don't.
And that was a big deal for us because
we used to go through hard at first.
We used to go through like a roll every like 3 days.
Yes, it's very hard at first, but we got used to the habit, and
it's a habit now.
now it's just it's normal. It's fine.
So I would almost include, instead of just the paper towels, I would also include like paper in general. Like the junk mail,
paper.
The note that you wrote the grocery list on that you don't need anymore, stuff like that.
So paper, what would we do with paper? So this right here, we reused it for one, and so we can't use it again, or can we? Of course we can.
We can. We use it for burning, but also having the wood stove. One of the things that we got years ago. And
forgot about this.
He forgot about this because we haven't used it in a while. The only reason I remembered it is because Evan just got one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and he was so excited and sent a picture of it. But basically, it is a paper log maker. Brick maker. So what you do is you get shredded paper. It can be finely shredded, hand shredded, kind of make almost like a paper mache, like wet paste, and then you put it in this brick form, and then there's a top piece, and you push it down and you squeeze as much water as you can out of it, and then you just set it out and you let it dry. And once it dries, it forms a brick like what you would build a house with, but it's out of paper, and they burn extremely well.
Yep.
In that I've got a wood stove that needs that low long simmer, not the bright whoof and done. And we would make them at Laurinburg, and by we, I mean Patrick, would make them in Laurinburg. We'd set them out in the back shed to let them dry, basically forget about them. And then when we needed them, there they were.
Yeah.
So, something like this that is, it has reached its purpose. Well, it can be shredded. By the way, we're getting a shredder. Graham's a shredder.
Okay.
So, anyway, sorry, I had a brain fart right there. So you can reuse this stuff to something that is now a consumable energy for your home. It's not trash anymore. It has become useful again for the third or fourth time, or however many times you use it. And even paper towels and stuff like that, depending on what you're using them for, could go into the mush mix as well.
Yep.
And so that's a way, taking the paper out of your trash is a huge
Yeah. I totally
reducer. Boom. Megan is just rocking this topic tonight.
Along with paper goes cardboard. Cardboard. We get how much cardboard we get? We get a lot.
We get a lot of cardboard. So the stuff, and a lot of that, like the food that we buy, I get protein bars from Aldi's that I have for breakfast every morning.
Everything has to come in a box.
Everything comes in a box. So we have a lot of boxes. Okay, even I'm looking at your gloves that came in a box. The foot pad things that came in a box. The games that we sell come in boxes. There's always cardboard. I use the cardboard a lot. I'll keep good pieces of it and tear it up and keep it next to the wood stove. So if I'm starting a fire, I use that cardboard to get the fire going.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways that I help reduce it. But then most of the time, it goes in the satellite dish in the backyard and it gets burned.
Another good way to use cardboard is for mulch. So a lot of people have plastic mulch over their garden to help their garden grow. Well,
use the cardboard
is
and it'll
used a lot in
decompose.
Permaculture. It'll decompose. It'll keep moisture in the ground. So you put cardboard down on the ground over whatever it is you want to mulch over. Say there's grass or whatnot. It'll kill that grass off because it's covering. Then you put some sort of media over the top of it. Dig a small hole, and that's where you can plant your plant, and the weeds won't grow around. So that's permaculture.
Can you stop wiggling it? The plastic on it is making me crazy.
Okay, well, you bouncing is making me crazy.
I have stopped.
So, feedbacks.
So yeah, this was my thing. One of the biggest things, because we have chickens, we have rabbits, and we don't have a local feed store where we can go and just fill up a 55-pound bucket or tote.
We have
thingy.
to buy feed from Tractor Supply,
or even some of the local farm stores.
Right.
But it's bagged feed,
and it's tarp bags.
It's tarp bags. So we have I've done this because I like reusing it. We have cut it down. I've used it at work to make beds for animals at work. I've used it to cover windows on one of our chicken coops during the winter so that there's still some airflow that can get up in there, but it's protected. It's helped keeping the heat in and stuff like that.
Excuse me.
I'm actually, for the chickens that we just moved, the Samanis that we moved out into the yard, in their fences, their food bowls or their food, where we feed them is not covered where it was before because they were inside. One pair was inside the shed, one pair was in a coop situation. So I'm actually going to make framework and use the feed bags as tarps to go up and over that to give them little food huts so that their food will stay dry because we're having a wicked rainy season right now.
Yeah.
We basically had a miniature hurricane come through today. It was ridiculous. So the feed bags, like we've talked about using it on the rabbit coops. It's good tarp material. It's easy to cut.
Use it in the garden.
Yeah, we've used it to cover plants.
Yep.
We've used it we used it in Laurinburg to make not just little greenhouse covers, but you put it down, cut holes in it and actually planted through it
mulch.
To help retain the water.
Plastic mulch.
Yeah. And so we have, there's tons of uses for it and just being able to actually do it.
Metal cans.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like our dogs get wet food. We do canned veg, stuff like that that's store-bought. So reusing metal cans.
For planting plants or something like that. Shooting practice.
Yeah.
Paper, cardboard, and finally, plastic.
Plastic, as we've already kind of touched on, one of the biggest offenders that we have.
Huge plastic.
We do what we can. Like, we take a lot of them. Like, this is a V8 bottle, which Pat has, a bigger one. Because I thought I was bringing props, and he was like, I already got them. This is what we start out with.
Let's just talk like this when we're not on the video. I got those, man.
Yeah, it's a wonder we've been married this long. So what we do is we cut them down. You drill holes in the bottom that you can't see in the video, but there's several holes here for drainage. And we use them as plant starters. They work extremely well. They drain well. It's easy to pop them out once they get to a size and transplant them.
We also
They're
live.
durable.
We live in a
so-
log cabin, so when I change the oil in my car, I'll keep the oil because a mixture of oil and diesel gasoline
We'll seal our house.
will seal our house. It's a wood sealer.
So we have been
so
also
if you wonder
using.
what Thompson water seal is, that's
That's
essentially
what it is.
is.
So we have been saving a lot of these to put oil in for that, so that we can save it, which we are saving
Yes.
it, and to be able to seal, because we're gonna have to rechink and seal our house within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And so we've been using it as that, so storage containers, but it's hard. Plastic, everything is in plastic.
Right.
And so it's like, what? And I mean, it's a global question. What the hell do you do with it?
Right.
But then also, like on a smaller scale, what do you do when your trash isn't going and now you have all this plastic? You can melt it, but then you just have globs of plastic.
Right.
So what do you do?
So Megan sent me this email.
See, killing it this week.
Megan sent this website. It's called Precious Plastic. And what it is an open source website from this guy. He is foreign. Don't know.
I want to say he's Dutch,
Or
but he works in China
Norwegian
or
or
something.
whatnot.
Yeah.
But he has open sourced how to make plastic recycling materials. Here's a shredder. Here's an extruder. An injection mold plastic thing. And a compression mold plastic thing.
Yeah.
Recycling
So basically, so I've looked at stop.
I'm gonna show the video. It's gonna have
Okay,
everything
well,
on it.
I was just so with this one, your basic thing. This is what you're shredding. So you get these little plastic pellets, and you can shred any of the plastic. For this one, for the extrusion, basically this is so it makes a plastic
Wow.
fiber that can be used in a 3D printer or in any other way you could use just plastic line. Is pretty much what it is. This one is for injection molds. So if you have, a clay mold for making cups or something like that, you would just basically it heats it up, and then you would fill the mold and then just let it sit. This one actually that is a car jack right there in the middle. And what it does, for larger molds, it is a pressure mold that will actually push it up in.
Yes.
So I just think it's amazing. Like, one, it's open source, so anybody can use it. And two, they talk about it, you can make these for, a couple $100. A lot of people are using, like, they'll go to a junkyard and get the sheet metal off a door of a car and pay, a fraction of what it would be brand new.
Right.
And making these at home for little to nothing.
Yeah. Well, this goes for what he's making here. If you follow his plans, it'll be between $100 and $1,000.
Yeah.
But at the same time, watch this video and it'll really inspire you to.
I think it's amazing. I would love to have something like this
I think it
here at
would
some
too.
point.
So here we go. This is the plastics video. So that literally, we were just talking about this while that video was playing. The fact that you can make 3D printer filament literally makes the opportunities
Endless.
of what you can make out of a 3D printer. How cool is that?
But I like the fact, okay, being able to turn that plastic, you can make pots, or, not pots maybe so much, but plates, cups, things that would be useful in a situation where maybe you're not able to go to the store all the time and buy new stuff if something breaks. Or, even in the video, it was a clock.
Right.
And you could tell that was from his recycled stuff.
Right.
There's things like that you can use to make useful items.
You can make flanges, you can make all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There's molds out there for multiple things. Tiles for flooring.
Yeah.
For your backsplash. They make a hexagon, so you can make a geodesic dome with them. It's all open source. They have a market on there as well. You can actually buy some of the molds.
And I just think that it's cool. Like, I want some of that. I want to be able to do that even without, so you collect your plastic throughout the month, and then, the last weekend of the month, that's your weekend thing is
right. You make some stuff.
Or at least, if nothing else, chop all the plastic down.
Yes.
And have the beads, if you will, ready for whatever you end up needing. So stuff like that, like it's used. And hell, even just having the chopper, there's your plastic mulch right there.
Right.
And being able to protect your ground, help keep the moisture in it, stuff like that. So I just I saw this video months ago, but at that point I didn't realize really what it was. Like, I thought it was cool. Look at that. Look what he's doing. But
now it's
the open source aspect of it, I didn't know about all of that. And so it really just tied in with, tonight's topic. And I just think it's pretty cool and stuff like that. That's why we all do this. You work together, you share stories, you figure out what works for you and what works for someone else. And you share your experiences. And I just think that is a perfect way of doing it, especially in a situation where maybe your garbage isn't getting picked up, or maybe you can't take it to the dump, or, something like that. Or maybe
you come across a huge pile that you're going to have to whittle down, and you have to separate it out.
Yeah.
Like, say, other people's houses that have a bunch of garbage in it.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about that video was the very first part. He put up a sign on the wall, and he paid people
10 cents or 10 euro cents per kilogram, which is about 2.2 pounds
of clean plastic.
Yeah.
And so he's basically getting paid.
Well, I mean, he's paying. But then he can turn around and sell those plates for, a couple euros a piece, and you're good to go. So even in that type of situation, as a community, you would get together and, hey, I need 4 plates, or hey, I need 4 cups, or hey, I need a flange for this, or I need a handle for this, and everybody combines, and then everybody gets what they need, and it's all
recycled.
And so I just think overall it's a damn good idea.
So that's pretty much what we have for today.
Yeah, that's it.
Any comments going on over there?
Oh, I'm not even reading them.
Doc Ferris, hello, Common Man. Hello, Sybil. Hope you're doing well.
Sandbags for the feed bags. That's a good idea as well.
Good idea.
Sybil said you can make the feed bags into grocery totes.
Yep. You can make them into aprons too. I've seen those.
She also said you make great greenhouses with plastic bottles.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that, but we don't get that. We don't have enough of the same
We're not
kind.
Extreme.
We don't drink 8 bajillion bottles of Coke every month to be able to make like an actual structure.
We used to be so obese. It's not
but I have seen those, and I think they're amazing. And the amount of light they let in, and they're great. But for us, not. We don't have that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much our show for this evening. We will see you guys next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have a new topic for you guys, an actual Instant Pot 2020 recipe that we're going to try. And then you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy your President's Day. Realize what the day is for. The day is to celebrate.
President's Day?
Monday is President's Day. It's a federal holiday.
No, not for us.
It's to celebrate George Washington. It's officially George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's birthdays.
Yeah, it's not a holiday for us.
It's a federal holiday.
We're not closed.
Okay.
Ah!
I don't
I'll be
see
at work
why,
on
but
Monday.
Yeah, it's a federal holiday.
I think we're
Then who's going to watch our kid?
my mother.
Oh, that's right. Mom can be here. All right, y'all. We're out of here. We're Audi 5000. I'm
Good
Megan.
Lord, Jeff, your cat is fine. I'm gonna go get him. We're not signing
Okay.
off quite yet.
Here we go. So, Megan gave me a Valentine's Day card. It's got a little duck on it. Actual duck on it. And it says, "To Freckles." Freckles. Get it? That's what she used to call me. From Pickles. And I called her Pickles because she worked at Subway restaurant. And every time she came home from work, she'd smell like dill pickles. It says, "Happy Valentine's Day. You're a waddle fun."
Well, I also got him a real card, and
Yes,
it
you
said, "Thanks for putting up with my bullshit" in it. See, he is just fine. Say hi to Uncle Doc Ferris.
Say hello, Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Such a good cat. I've never had such a more chill cat ever.
He was hanging out with the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, can we go now?
Say night-night, Uncle Jeff.
Night, Uncle Jeff. Are you talking to the cat?
Night-night.
Have a good night, y'all.
See, I made his night.
Aww.
Mwah. Bye-bye.